cloud from the sun forms, and it contains a heavy supply of elements, and then these are spawned into planets by mechanisms that they contrive, and these mechanisms are not confirmed, and they're even highly spurious because it's doubtful that those mechanisms of planet formation could even be realistically verified according to physics principles. But they use them anyway. Astrophysics takes a lot of liberty, you know. Okay? And then on it goes, you know, about the comets and all this stuff. And they say the planet we call Earth formed an orbit where its atmosphere can sustain oceans largely liquid in form. Had the Earth been much closer to the sun, the oceans would have vaporized, okay? Had the Earth been further away, the oceans would have frozen. Well, we agree with that. That's the case for intelligent design, you know, that we always say. The Earth is uniquely placed in its position on purpose. In either case, life as we know it would not have evolved. Would it have been created? Maybe. Within the chemically rich liquid oceans, by a mechanism unknown, get that, some simple anaerobic bacteria emerged that unwittingly transformed Earth's carbon dioxide atmosphere with sufficient oxygen to allow aerobic mechanisms to form, to evolve, and to dominate the oceans and the land. Wonderful story, wonderful picture. Okay? And of course, some oxygen molecules become ozone molecules, and they get out in the upper parts of the atmosphere, and they create the shield to shield the Earth from the ultraviolet radiation of outer space. The remarkable diversity of life on Earth, and we may presume elsewhere in the universe, notice that, arises from the cosmic abundance of carbon and the countless numbers of molecules, simple and complex, made from it more varieties of carbon-based molecules exist than any other kinds of molecules. And that's, of course, true. But we don't rely upon carbon to do that. We rely upon what? A designer to do that, right? I mean, obviously, someone's got to put that carbon stuff together to make those molecules, you know? Okay, and yet I'll finish this with this little excerpt from the end here. Yes, the universe had a beginning. We agree. Yes, the universe continues to evolve. We disagree. Yes, every one of our body's atoms is traceable to the Big Bang. We disagree. And to thermonuclear furnaces with high-mass stars. We are not simply in the universe. We are part of it. Well, I guess in a sense we are. We are born from it. Not really. We're uniquely made, God says in His image, right? One might even say that the universe has empowered us. Wow. Here in our small corner of the cosmos, sounds like Carl Sagan, to figure itself out, and we've only just begun. Marvelous story, and the typical evolution-based approach to what the nature of the universe is about and how everything happened. Well, now let's progress to go to comparing what the Scripture has to say regarding creation and what evolution has to say by this same... is this cursor going to come up here? There we go. Okay. So what do we read? If we read Genesis in the Scripture, well, I'll read it for you because just as well, I mean, we're friends of the Bible here. So we know this pretty well, don't we? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's usually the way it's translated. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. What was the deep? Well, the deep was water because the Spirit of God moved on the face of the waters, it says, right? Ah, interesting. So we already have water. So the first thing that exists in creation is not a Big Bang, not a singularity, not energy creating matter, but water. Already there. Okay? Evolution says matter from energy, Big Bang. Okay? Scripture also says energy, which is light, was released. Because as we read on, you see, we'll say, and I'm not going to continue reading all of it, but We'll say, and God said, let there be light, and light was. Okay? And God saw the light, and that was good, and so on it goes, as you know. Okay? So light came after the existence of water was already there. Energy is eternal according to the big evolution model, not according to creation. I mean, it was eternal in God's plan, I'm sure, but that's not the way it's mentioned in creation. Space and expanse is the third thing that we hear about. But evolution says space created by the Big Bang. As the Big Bang proceeds, space is created, right? So it's a very different approach to what the Scripture says and to what evolution says. Now, the chemical elements have to exist prior to the Earth because they're made up of these things. So obviously, the Earth is not going to exist there without the chemistry to make up all the components of the Earth. That's a given, even though the Scripture doesn't go into that detail. Yet, evolution says the chemical elements were produced within the sun and the stars, and they were yielded from all of these stars as they died out, as I just read to you. And then the Earth and the other planets were produced in the sun. Quite a bit of difference here. Okay, moving on. Creation. Plants are produced at the end of the third day. As we read on for up to the third day, and it says God created every seed-bearing plant and so on, and allowed them to, produce after their own kind, right? Okay? But plants, according to evolutionists, of course, evolved billions of years after the Earth was formed and cooled off. It took a long process. Here it says 3 literal 24-hour days. Sun, the moon, and the stars, according to God, are going to be created on the fourth day, actually, not the third day. That's a mistake. See where it says third day right there? That should be fourth day. I think I probably did that. I wanted to thank Fred for doing all this PowerPoint for me. And I'm pretty sure all the blame lies with me. Okay? All celestial bodies produced 10 to 12 billion years after the Big Bang. Very different situation. Just every point about this is different, obviously, not just minor points. Evolutionists believe that the nebula cloud that came from the sun created all these planets by some hokey mechanism. Okay? So, going into there, you got the sun there from that process, looking at it from that way, and then, of course, creating all of these things coming out of it by some mechanism, just by some occlusion of this plasma of dust and stuff like that. Okay? So that's what they basically believe. So the model now on the origin of the solar system, which is these high-speed collisions that are taking place between these particles. And of course, there's strong electric and magnetic fields all over the place, as you can imagine. And they cause the gravitational attraction between the particles, which lump them together into these planetary bodies. Well, that's the same mechanism they said that formed the galaxies, in very much the same way, okay, on an even much larger scale. So evolutionists also believe then organic chemical compounds are things that are essential for biochemistry to produce the DNA and RNA and the proteins and so on of life, came from water, and that soup in the